Today we're diving deep into one of the most fascinating indie projects out there right now, and that is Schedule 1. If you've been following this game, you'll know it's been steadily growing, evolving, and really surprising people with just how ambitious it is, especially considering it's being made by a solo developer. And right now, there's a lot of buzz because the next big update has been revealed. And yes, it is a wild one. We're talking about the introduction of Shrooms as a whole new substance, brand new production tools, expanded systems, new customers, and even a tease about future events. So today, in this video, we're going to break down everything we know so far, some of the past updates that we've gotten, some history of the game, some skepticism, we'll see. But yeah, other than that, let's dive in. Okay, so let's start with the headline, the upcoming Shrooms update. This is officially going to be the game's fourth major substance type. And for a game all about building up your empire through production and distribution, each new substance adds not just fresh mechanics, but also new layers of strategy. And that's exactly what the Shrooms update is doing here. And so here's what's confirmed so far. A brand new supplier, Shroom-specific production equipment and tools, some new multi-use production equipment, and this is important because it means the new gear won't be exclusive to Shrooms. So you'll also be able to apply it to existing substances, which opens up flexibility and efficiency for players who like to optimize their setups, aka me. And then there'll be new effects and ingredients, and then of course as well, new customers. And now that's a lot to take in, but the part that stands out to me is the idea of multi-use production equipment. In games like this, production chains can often feel rigid, like you're building an isolated factory line that only applies to one type of product. But with gear that can serve multiple purposes, you're suddenly looking at new combinations, more crossovers between systems, and a stronger incentive to experiment. And now the other big thing about this update is just how player-driven it is. Tyler, the solo dev behind Schedule 1, actually held a huge community vote. And when I say huge, I mean it. Over 490,000 fans participated. Out of those, nearly 270,000 people voted for Shrooms, making it the clear winner. And that's honestly massive. When you got almost 500,000 people taking part in a community poll, it really says something about the level of engagement that this game has managed to build up. And the cool part is that the losing options, like drivers with 139,000 votes and fishing with 85,000 votes, aren't just being tossed aside. Tyler has already confirmed that these ideas will come back in future polls. So it's not about this feature wins and the others get scrapped, it's more about priority. Which again shows just how transparent and community first that this project is trying to be. And now as for the release date, we don't have a hard timeline. Tyler's made it clear that he doesn't want to promise a date and risk delays like what happened with the rival Cartel update. But the general window he's given is sometime between mid-October and late November. And now that's soon, and what's even more interesting is that it's going to be followed by a Halloween patch just a few weeks later. And now we don't know much about that one yet, but you can imagine the possibilities here. A Halloween event, maybe themed decorations in the city, or even a limited time mechanic that shakes things up. And so to sum it up, the Shrooms update is adding a new substance, new tools, new effects, new customers, and a wider range of production possibilities. But to really appreciate how exciting that is, we need to take a step back and look at what came before it. And so before we get too far ahead of ourselves, let's rewind to that rival Cartel update. This was the previous big content drop for Schedule 1, and it was massive in its own right. This update was all about competition. Up until that point, the game was very much focused on your own empire, your production, your supply chain, and your customers. But with Rival Cartel, the world suddenly felt a lot more alive. Players were introduced to rival organizations that you had to contend with. This meant more challenges, more threats, but also more opportunities. It added that extra layer of tension where it wasn't just about optimizing your own operations, but also about dealing with what other groups were doing in the same city. And the community loved it. And sure, there were some hiccups. The update had some delays, and Tyler has admitted that the rollout could have gone smoother. But once it landed, most players agreed it was one of the most exciting additions to the game so far. And this is important because it sets the stage for why people are so hyped about the Shrooms update. Rival Cartel proved that Tyler could deliver on big promises. It showed that these updates aren't just minor patches with bug fixes or tiny features, they're game-changing content drops that completely shift how you play. And so when people hear new substance type, new production tools, new customers, they're not just imagining a few small additions. They're imagining something on a scale of Rival Cartel, something that could redefine their strategies and make the game feel brand new yet again. And that's a high bar to clear, and it's worth keeping in mind as we move forward. But now, let's zoom out even further. To really understand why this game has captured so much attention, we need to talk about the history of Schedule 1. This is one of those indie success stories that almost doesn't seem real. Schedule 1 isn't being made by a studio with dozens of developers. It's not backed by a massive publisher. It's the work of a single developer named Tyler. From the very beginning, Tyler's been transparent about what he's building. he set up a public Trello board so fans could actually track development in real time. Every feature, every planned update, every change was there for people to see. And that kind of openness is rare in this industry. And the game launched and immediately started building a community. And not just a passive one, this is a player base that actively votes on features, gives feedback, and helps shape the future of the game. And what makes it stand out is the concept. There are plenty of management and production sims out there, but Schedule 1 takes a very specific and, yes, very bold approach by focusing on the underworld economy. And so you're not managing a farm or a factory, you're building up a cartel. And that makes the stakes feel higher, the mechanics feel grittier, and the whole vibe feel more unique compared to what's already on the market. And over time, we've seen update after update, like I mentioned earlier in the video, each one making the city more alive, the systems more interconnected, and the gameplay loop more addictive. And the player numbers reflect that. The fact that nearly 500,000 people voted in the recent poll shows just how far this project has come. But of course, with that kind of growth comes higher expectations, which leads us to the next part of the discussion, skepticism. And now, of course, let's pump the brakes just a little bit, because while everything I've said so far sounds exciting, and it definitely is, it's also worth remembering that not everything is guaranteed to go smoothly. First off, this is still a solo developer project. That's both impressive and concerning at the same time. On one hand, Tyler has proven he can handle it. On the other, the sheer scale of what he's trying to pull off is massive. There are limits to how much one person can realistically manage, especially with a player base this big. Secondly, there's the issues of delays. The rival Cartel update, as great as it was, did suffer from being pushed back. Tyler has admitted that he doesn't want to repeat that mistake again, which is why he hasn't given a hard release date for Shrooms. But still, the risk is always there. Development is unpredictable, and the more complex the update, the higher the chance that something slips. And last but not least, this is more of a personal concern. I do sometimes wonder if the constant pace of updates might actually work against the game in the long run. And now, don't get me wrong here, it's awesome to see new content dropping all the time. But there's also a danger of burning out the player base if the cycle becomes too relentless. Players might feel like they can't keep up, or that game that they're playing today will feel outdated tomorrow. And now that's not to say the Shrooms update won't be great. It probably will be, but it's always smart to temper the hype with a little bit of realism. And so where does that leave us? Well, right now, we're in this interesting moment where Schedule 1 has momentum, excitement, and a massive community ready to dive into the next chapter. The Shrooms update looks like it's going to expand the game in meaningful ways, much like the rival Cartel did before it. And with more polls, more updates, and more community involvement on the horizon, it's safe to say that this project isn't slowing down anytime soon. But as always, the real test will come when the update actually drops. Will it live up to the hype? Will it hit that sweet spot between ambitious and polished? Or will it stumble under the weight of expectations? Only time will tell. But at the end of the day, Schedule 1 is one of the most unique indie games out there right now. The fact that a single developer has managed to create something this engaging, this community-driven, and this ambitious is already a huge achievement. The Shrooms update has the potential to be another big milestone in that journey. And while there are reasons to stay cautious, delays, the challenges of solo development, the pressure of constant updates, there's also a lot to be excited about. So my overall questions to you are, what do you think? Are you hyped for the Shrooms update? Did you vote in the community poll? And what feature are you most looking forward to down the line? Drivers, fishing, or something else entirely? Make sure to let me know, because I definitely would love to hear your thoughts. If you guys did enjoy this video, make sure to leave a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button if you're new, as I will continue to make more gaming news videos just like this one. Until next time.